Player 3.
What happened here?
What three?
We're okay.
What three
That
talking
three.
about?
The Plath family farm, its fields golden under a late August sun, welcomed Lydia with familiar rhythms, the distant whir of a tractor, the soft music of cicadas. Lydia carried 2 mugs of fresh coffee to the waiting table on the porch, where Ethan sat, his eyes still full of early light. They hadn't spoken much lately. Since the wedding, tension had piled like fall leaves between them. She took a deep breath. Today she needed to clear the air. "What's up?" Ethan drew her in with a sideways smile, but his eyes seemed guarded, curious, wary. She set both mugs down and sat across from him, legs swinging toward the pasture. "I'm doing something big," she said softly. He waited. Lydia traced the rim of her mug, staring at ripples in the coffee. She thought of Germany, the mission trip on her mind since before Zach proposed, this whirlwind that had carried her across milestones so quickly. She knew Ethan hadn't understood, hadn't forgiven the speed of it all. She closed her eyes. "I talked to my pastor," she began slowly. "He said if we were going to Germany, it'd make sense to go as a married couple." She paused. "That's why Zach asked Dad for his blessing so fast. And why we said yes." Ethan blinked, digesting. He'd called it a shotgun wedding. She joked back that it wasn't a literal shotgun, but the metaphor dug deeper than either realized. She took a sip, calm rising in her spine. "Ethan, I'm moving." He choked on his coffee. "Moving? Like leaving the farm?" She nodded, heart pounding. "I've been accepted into a program in Tallahassee. I'll get my own place. I'll shop. I'll live on my own." Ethan looked distant, stunned. Silence stretched. Then he asked, "When did you decide that?" She offered a small smile. "For a while. But now I'm actually doing it." The days after felt heavy. Lydia packed quietly, slipping clothes into the old canvas trunk where once she'd kept schoolbooks and prayers. Isaac peeked in and asked, "You sure?" She nodded. The siblings watched from porches and doorways as she loaded boxes into the minivan. Ethan lingered, finally approaching. I never imagined you'd leave, you know," he said, voice quiet. "You've kept this place together." Lydia reached out. "You've kept me safe," she whispered. He didn't reply. Instead, he pulled her into a hug, tight. A confession in his arms, grief and pride and letting go. Her new apartment in Tallahassee felt surreal. Warm tile, open windows, the hum of air conditioning instead of crickets. She set her prayer boxes on a shelf and laughed differently, lighter. She let Zach's voice in her head, gentle and steady. She let new rhythms settle, groceries from a cart, rent checks, lights plugged into walls with no wooden block obstacles. One evening, she FaceTimed Ethan. He smiled behind the screen. "So far, so near." "How's the mission prep?" he asked. She told him, "Germany is 6 months away. I'll be coming back." He exhaled, relief leaping across pixels. When Lydia finally visited home, the farm smelled of harvest corn and fallen leaves. Ethan met her at the barn, and they talked about her apartment, her new rhythm, and how the farm felt both empty and hers. He told her he struggled with the wedding, with Zach, but wanted to trust them. She said she understood. They walked the fields and didn't talk about Germany or Tallahassee or mission trips. Instead, they remembered childhood games, stolen snacks, late-night whispers. She realized some homes are not places. They're people who hold you, even when you leave. Lydia woke under her own roof the next morning, her own light, her own floorboards, but when she called Ethan, she felt rooted enough to stretch. They ended the call in shared laughter, and in that moment, she felt grace was not about staying. It was about love that holds even through letting go. Ethan's concerns over the pace of Lydia's relationship and the emotionally charged engagement earned plenty of screen focus. "You know we need to wait a while," Lydia explained to her parents and to Ethan on camera. The whirlwind romance, marriage 6 months after meeting, and the mission trip rationale inspired the tension and motive for her announcement. Lydia trying on her mother's wedding dress, and her emotional response, framed her transition from girl to independent woman.